So what I got here is a couple of knives I picked up from the Goodwill. You can probably see it still's got the sticky stuff from the sticker on. Get some acetone and take that off. But when I go to Goodwill and look for knives, I just pick them up and feel the knives that feel good to me, that have a good size handle and feel like they're well made. The ones that feel expensive. What you want to look for is a full tang, which is that the blade goes all the way through the handle. So you want to look for that, and they got 3 rivets on them. You're probably pretty much in good shape. You can pick these up. I think I got them for $1 or $2 a piece. So I picked these up because I liked the handle and I liked that they were a full tang knife, but I'm not crazy about the shape of the blade on these. So what I'm going to do is take this and do something like that with it. Cut it off and just make a little knife for the kitchen. Something like that. So I'll go out in the garage and cut those off with an angle grinder, and then we'll go over to Grandpa's house and he can tell us how he sharpens them.
If you ever got a boot stuck down in your engine, you can pull it out with a coat hanger.
Alright, so I got the blade wrapped up in a rag here. I'm going to get it squared away in this vise. And I'm just squeezing it just hard enough to hold it so that it doesn't go anywhere. And we'll just cut her off. And there you go. It's cut off. Probably needs a little bit of work here. And I've got to grind the whole thing down like this tip is. I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty thick right here at the end. So that whole part will have to be kind of shaved down a little bit and tapered so that you can get it sharpened. But okay, I switched over to a grinding wheel, and I'm just gonna put it on here at an angle, and I'm just gonna kind of take some of that square edge off and just kind of taper it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna flip the knife over and we'll do the same thing kind of on the other side. You want to make sure that you're trying to keep that as even as possible. Cut off wheel. Put on the grinding wheel. The thing you want to pay attention to here is just making both sides even. Alright, the next step on these blades is to just get those grind marks off, and I'm just gonna sand it down until that's all smooth. Okay, this one's got a lot more rough edges because I had to take it was a lot thicker knife right here, so I had to take a lot more material off right here. I got this strip. It's 120 grit. Okay, I got the about 150, 120 grit done on both sides. It's nice and smooth, so I'm gonna move up to the 800. All right, 800 grits done. I'm moving up to 1500. Okay, so they're not perfect. I still got some scuffs and stuff from the grinder. I could have spent a lot more time sanding, but this is the redneck channel, so I didn't. I'm too lazy for that. But I think these are a lot better size for working in the kitchen, and that'd be a good hunting knife, like that drop point right there. And it's got a nice long handle. It's a pretty heavy blade too. I think it's going to be a good knife. So let's get sharpening. Your knives are always sharper than mine, so I wanted to learn how you do it so that I know, and then we can teach YouTube how to do it so they know.
Okay, what
do you got going on here? Where do you get these from?
this stone is a pretty expensive stone. It sells for about $10, $12. There's a fine side and a rough side. I have several good stones. You can buy a cheap stone for about $1.50, but it won't sharpen nothing. So it's a waste of money. The only thing you have to learn about sharpening is the angle in which you do it. And that just comes automatically after you sharpen knives for 65 years. I go by the sound of the knife when it hits the stone. It sounds like it's grinding. But I just have been doing it so many years that this angle is what I do it at.
Well, no wonder I don't do it as good as you. I haven't been doing it 60 years.
Feel the blade now. See, it's already getting much sharper. But it's not shaving yet. It's shaving a little bit.
Yeah, so see when he tests if it's sharp, you just kind of feel the edge. You never put your thumb on it or move your fingers
you go
back
this
and
way,
yeah.
and if you bleed,
it's sharp.
It's sharp, right. But you always start at the tip and you push down. You can hear the stone cutting. And that really is a nice, I wouldn't mind using that knife. Same thing with this one.
So you started right on the fine side of the stone. You didn't.
Well, I feel, and there's a blade there. It's sharp, so I can feel the edge, and I know that I can start on the finished side of the stone.
But if you got one that's real dull,
yeah, if you get one that's really dull, then you have to turn the stone over and work it down to where that angle comes in on the rough side. Your cut. If you're going to fillet fish, you got to have a sharp knife, or otherwise you cut yourself up. And I have to have something to block the stone, because if you do it out in the center, the stone slips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so just something to keep it.
So
in the
you
same
could have
place.
a block of wood with a stop at the end, and you can push your blade up against it, and that works real well. I just use this thing. When you're finishing your blade, you do it once on each side. If it's real dull, do five times on one side, and then turn it and do 5 on the other. And then feel your blade. If it feels sharp, then you can finish it off by being careful, and it'll go a little bit slower. And that's good. That's a good sharp knife. I'd be happy with that.
Sharpen knives too long, you won't have any hair left on your arms.
Right. It's cutting. It's shaving now.
So this knife used to have a big old thick blade on it.
Oh yeah.
But he's been sharpening it so long that he sharpens it right down to a little fillet knife.
You see, with one of these here, the blade was all the way here. It was a big knife like this. And that's how much has been chewed off over the years.
Yeah,
it turns into a very short knife over a period of time.
He's had these knives since I was probably 10 years old. I remember having this sold thing on here. He bought these from an old butcher, and it was a big knife like that when I was a kid, but it's been filed down. So how do you
flay a big fish with that sucker? And you can wet the stone with water. I use sometimes cooking oil. If I'm really, I got a knife that was used for cutting brick or something, and it has no edge on it at all, then I'll use cooking oil and do the same thing.
So why is getting the stone wet with oil or water better than
it cuts better?
Dry it. So
well, this will fill up with the steel coming off your blade. It'll fill up, so water kind of washes it off as you go, or oil. And if you're really putting a blade on of a real dull knife, then you use cooking oil or motor oil or any kind of oil. Well, that's it for that.